Hello, welcome to this Civil 3D corridor modeling tutorial. My name is Abdul Hamid. In our previous videos, we developed this corridor model, and if we just zoom in, we can clearly see that this part of the corridor model is in cut. We also saw in our corridor model how can one extract surfaces from a corridor model. So if I right click on my corridor and go to properties, we can see that four surfaces are being extracted from this corridor model. And in this video I'm going to talk about this cut comparison surface, and currently its surface style is set to no display. So I will come to my prospector and will come to my surfaces and will click on cut comparison surface. I will just change its style. So I will come to surface properties and then I will change its style to graded. And as you can see, this surface is invisible right now. So if I apply the new style, it will show up. And as it can be seen that this surface starts from the start of the corridor model and it extends up to end of this corridor model, but it is supposed to be appearing only in this part of the corridor model. It should not display in this whole model. So if you follow my previous videos, you will understand why this surface is appearing all the way through, right from start up to end. But it's not a problem. As I said, it is supposed to show up only in this region. So question is how can we get rid of this triangulation outside this area? And even if I come to one of my section and click on it, and then I come to view group properties, and if I click on this sections tab and cut comparison surface, right now its style is set to no display. So if just look at this section, when I apply a new section style, let's see what happens. So I will click on this section view and we'll come to view group properties, and then I will click on this cut comparison surface and will change its style to a new style that I already have made, and it's called cut comparison surface. So I will click on OK. New style has been applied. We just need to press this apply button. As you can see, this surface has appeared over here. Okay, since this surface is present right from start of the corridor model up to the end, so all our cross sections have this cut comparison surface showing up in it. Now question is, how can we get rid of this this surface in all these sections? How can we force the corridor model to show this surface only in this region where it is supposed to be in cut? How can we do this? Well, we are gonna use a wonderful feature specially useful for surfaces, and it is called boundaries. So I'm gonna come to my cut comparison surface, and then I will click on this plus button and will come to definition and will add boundaries. I will click on this, or I will right click on this boundaries and will press add. Now boundaries has four types: show, outer, hide, and data clip. We will talk about this outer and data clip later on. Right now we are only going to talk about this show and hide boundary in this tutorial. Okay, I have a polygon made up of polyline which is encircling, or which is present around this whole corridor model. And then I have another rectangle over here made up of polyline, and it is only present where this where the area is in cut. So I will just make some minor adjustments. Okay, now and we are gonna do the same thing over here as well. We will stretch this this polyline up to a point where we have this area in cut. Let's say up to this point. Okay, so now you can clearly see that this reddish part is being enclosed by this polyline, and then we have a big polyline all around the corridor model. We are going to do it in a certain way. I will click on this I will come to my cut comparison surface, will click on this definition and then boundaries. We'll right click on it, add. First I'm gonna apply a height boundary. I will click on this and I will call it 01 just to make it simple for us later on. Okay, so type is set to height, and then I will click OK, and I will just click on this outer polyline and will press enter. As you can see, our surface just vanished. It just disappeared. So what this height boundary does, actually it hides the whole triangulation. You will not be able to see anything within that polyline which is being acting as height boundary. So then we are going to use another boundary. We are going to add a new boundary to our surface. I will click on this boundaries, add, and this time I'm gonna set the boundary type to show, and we'll call it at 02. We'll press OK, and then I'm gonna force the corridor model to show me surface only in this area. So I will click on this polyline and we'll press enter. When you do this, we can see that triangulation is now only showing up in this region only. So even if I come to my cross sections, that section has now disappeared from it. And if I come to one of my section in cut, we can clearly see that it is still showing up the that section. If I click on it, let me just turn on the selection cycle. Yes, it is already on, but as you can see, this cut comparison surface is showing up only over here in this section, and it is right, because this area is in cut, so it is supposed to show up in this area. But in all other section, that cut comparison surface has just disappeared. So this boundary tool is a wonderful tool to play with your surface, and then even I can click on this polyline, and I can go to properties and data boundaries. I'm gonna create a layer called data boundaries, and I can just put the printer. I can just ask Civil3d to not print it when we want to print it. So this, I'm gonna close this layer, and then layer dialog box, and I will click on this polyline, and I will click on this other polyline as well, and then I will change its layer to see data boundaries. Okay, so when this happens, now I can just turn it off. Let me make this one as current layer, and then I can turn this layer off. and I can freeze it as well. So those polylines that we added to our drawing, they just helped us in getting rid of those unwanted surface being shown up in these section views. Okay, let's come to comparison surface again and just turn it off. Hopefully you now understand what is the use of boundaries to play with the surfaces that are being extracted from corridor model. Thank you so much for watching this video. We'll see you in the next video.